Hello, parents. My name is Nicole Freewalt, and I am the Spanish 2 teacher here at St. James. So I am a recent graduate of University of Lynchburg. I just graduated in the spring of this year with a bachelor's in biology and Spanish with an additional minor in studio art. So as a result of that, I'm new to teaching overall, and I'm also a new teacher here at St. James. But I've been adjusting very well, and I love the support system, and I love the faculty that have been able to support me and help me grow as a teacher this year. So I found SJS, St. James, through an agency called the Southern Teachers Agency, where they connect especially recent college graduates and any other teachers along those lines that are looking for a job with an independent school. So I found St. James through there. I really liked their atmosphere. I liked how it was small, it was personable, and it had a big emphasis on a liberal arts education, similar to my university, which was University of Lynchburg. So I really liked the idea that the school encouraged learning from all types of disciplines, and it included encouragement of trying sports, trying new things in that aspect. Also looking at the arts and looking at also making sure that they have that core overall education with the traditional disciplines that you see in an educational setting. And that was the main reason that drew me here, that I felt that it was a really good educational system. And I also like the small class size too. I like being able to know my students, and I like being able to help them out and encourage them as best as I can, while also establishing a solid relationship, a solid teacher-student relationship. So I'm going to share my screen and briefly go over my class expectations. So by now, your students should definitely have Santillana Español 2 as their textbook, their accompanying practice workbook, speaking and listening workbook, and they should also have an Easy Spanish Reader, which is the 3rd volume. Their grade is on a point system, so it's important to make sure that your student does all of their work and turns it in on time. I will accept late work, but they will get points deducted if they submit it later. When it comes to homework, notes, assignments, all of those things, all of them will be available on Blackboard. I will post PowerPoints, I will post notes, I will post homework. All of that will be on Blackboard, and that will essentially be your child's Bible when it comes to this class. So if there's any conflict, they need to plan with me accordingly to make sure that things work out. So I will accept exceptions for students if they submit something late and they have a valid excuse. I'm more than happy to work with them about that and accommodating for them. So for study skills, this is something that is very important for a language class. And it's important that your child studies and reviews the material every night. They should use good studying practices, and that's what we went over in our very first day of classes, talking about what your learning type is and different techniques and tips and tricks that you can use to maximize your studying and make sure that your studying is as meaningful as possible. So we use a tool called Quizlet to review vocab lists, and it's also important to make sure that they go over their notes. So it's a really good idea for students to just study their material as little as 5 to 10 minutes every day, and that makes a big difference, especially because a language class is a cumulative class. So it builds on each other, and it's really important to make sure that you have that solid foundation and you can build upon what you've learned while we're moving in throughout the year. It's also important that your child speaks during class, as one of the best ways to learn a language is to speak it. So even if you mess up, that's totally fine. It's a great idea to make sure that you speak up, talk in class, and just work towards getting a better understanding of how to speak the language too, as pronunciation is also a portion of learning a language as well. We usually have quizzes daily. Some of them will be planned, some of them will not. So you can expect about 2 quizzes a week, or a quiz and a test. The only extra credit available for students is extra credit bonus points on a test. So there aren't necessarily any extra assignments that students can do. So as a result, it is important that your student does all of their work to make sure that they stay on top of class and that they have a good grade. They are also welcome to see me if they need extra help. I have my office hours posted on my Blackboard as well, so that's where they can also find when I'm available and contact me. And two other important things that I like to talk about is that students that are on campus, it's very important to make sure that we stick to the rules of cohorting and any kind of rules regarding the coronavirus. So the better we adhere to the rules, the quicker we'll reach a more normal schedule. So that's something that's always important that I like to emphasize with the students as well. And I also want to say, especially to this class regarding languages, this course looks at some foreign cultures and customs. So it's important to remind your child to be respectful of any differences that may seem unusual to them. And I also like to point out to my students that Spanish is a Romance language, and Spanish as a Romance language is a language of an oppressive European group that has colonized large parts of Central America and Latin America as a whole. So I like to talk to my students and do my best to showcase the scope of modern culture, what you see in the current Spanish-speaking world, while also looking at voices of minority groups, including the history and the current conditions of indigenous cultures and customs. With dictionaries, as those are important when you're building your vocabulary with a new language, the students should be fine with a brief dictionary that's in the back of their textbooks, and they also have the vocabulary lists available in their practice workbooks. But if they like, their Spanish-English dictionaries in study hall and library. And in addition to that, if they would like an online resource, the only source that you can use online is word reference to look up words. And it's not to look up a set of words or a certain phrase or any conjugations. Those are things they have to do on their own. So they may not use any translation website under any circumstances. So when it comes to doing work with my students and posting online work, doing work in class in general, I really like to incorporate a variety of different ways to interact with the language. So looking at different aspects such as reading, writing, speaking, listening, interacting with the languages from all those different fronts to make sure that they have an ability to understand the language overall. And I also like to incorporate creative ways that they can learn as well. One of the ways that we do that is we have PowerPoint presentations. One of our PowerPoint presentations we did earlier in the year was going over Independence Days in Central America. So that's something that they do. And in addition to that, I like to make sure they have creative projects, things that allow students to write something that they might not think of doing with a language. I had an assignment for them to write about a famous clip, and have them describe the scene, describe what the actors are doing. So I like to give students ideas and ways to look at the language from a different perspective than just the traditional translations and practice drills. And when it comes to posting work, like I said, all of my materials will be available on Blackboard. If you have any questions or concerns for me, I am available at nfreewalt@stjames.edu. That is the one place you can contact me where I will most likely see your questions. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.